I'm 680 News senior business editor Mike Eppel. Feeling the pinch from rising borrowing costs? A lot of Canadians are already. Some interesting data points in from Environics Analytics today, talking about how the Bank of Canada, by raising interest rates, is starting to lead to a potential cash crunch for many Canadian homeowners because the cost of paying the debt on those mortgages is on the rise. Just after 2 interest rate hikes, and remember the Bank of Canada has raised 4 times now, the average yearly borrowing cost for a Toronto homeowner is up by almost $1,000. In Vancouver, it's north of $1,100. Overall, across Canada, is $554, but Environics says this is an indication that Canadian consumers are going to have less money to spend if the cost of borrowing continues to rise because they've got to service the debts on those very high, in some cases, mortgage costs. And it's expected to continue to climb with the Bank of Canada set for another interest rate hike, potentially before the end of the year. Cost of groceries also may be going up. Some interesting comments from the CEO of Empire Companies, that's the parent company of Sobeys, saying that costs are probably going to go up because of Trump tariffs. Remember back earlier this summer when the U.S. slapped tariffs on aluminum and steel and Canada reciprocated with tariffs on things like yogurt and imported coffee and other items. Well, the producers of those say that's going to be passed along at some point to consumers on Canadian grocery shelves. We've yet to hear any talk of that from the competitors at Metro or Loblaws, but again, costs going up because of these protectionist trade issues. Coca-Cola may be looking at getting into the cannabis marketplace. Published reports saying today that Coca-Cola was in preliminary talks with Aurora Cannabis out of Edmonton about getting into a deal for CBD-infused soft drinks as the majors in the beverage industry look to diversify. CBD is it basically helps for joint inflammation. Pardon the pun on joint, of course, but nevertheless, this idea of beverage companies buying into the burgeoning cannabis market space, sending these stocks sharply higher. At one point today, Aurora Cannabis was up by more than 20%. Before settling back. And again, no deal is necessarily imminent in this space, just speculation at this point. And what's Time worth? Well, we found out over the weekend Time magazine sold for $190 million. And it's a tech billionaire that's buying it. Mark Benioff, one of the co-founders of Salesforce.com, picking up the property from Meredith Corporation, which put other Time Inc. properties on the auction block, including Fortune magazine, Money, and Sports Illustrated. Talks to sell those properties continue as it looks like tech billionaires might be the savior of some of these long-standing print publications, as Jeff Bezos of Amazon bought the Washington Post a few years back for $250 million. And the talk is that other tech giants could have to bail out some of these properties. Time magazine's been around since 1923. From the 680 newsroom, I'm Mike Eppel for City News.